Welcome back to First Up, the first stop in your busy day, and we're heading into a segment which should bring a smile on your face because it is a good news story. We're celebrating the goodness inherent in all of us on the planet and, looking at what can be achieved when you really put your mind towards making a difference and act on that desire to make the world a better place. We want to say good morning and welcome to a couple of executives from the Shash Sunrise charity. We have with us the founder, Dr. Renee Williamson, and the other founder, Ras Marcus Rose. They met, it was something out of a movie. They bumped into each other in an airport. They had this great idea. They were heading in the same place at the same time, had this great idea to make a difference. And you know what? They didn't just talk about it, they actually put some action behind the talk. And that's why we have the Shash Sunrise charity doing so much great work over the last few years. So gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to First Up.
Good morning. How are you?
Good to have you on the program. Dr. Williamson, let me invite you for the benefit of our audience to give us a synopsis of the history of how the Shash Sunrise came into being.
Sure. So it started out when we visited Ethiopia in 2005. It was the occasion of Bob Marley's 60th anniversary, so it was a big concert that was planned. It was Africa Unite, and so this was the first time I was actually visiting Ethiopia. I had one prior visit to Africa, to Kenya, before that. I met Ras Marcus actually in the airport. We were both going to Ethiopia via New York. We stopped in London and I met him in Heathrow. And then after the concert, which was great because there were so many great acts that were on the program, we traveled together to Shashamani. And there we met a young boy who came up to us and he said, "Can we have a pen or a pencil?" That's what he asked us. And that was very surprising to
Ethiopia?
us. Shashamani, is a city. It's about 3 hours due south of Addis Ababa, which is the capital of Ethiopia. And the young man said, "Can I have a pen or a pencil?" It was very different, very distinct from the kids we met in Addis. They were asking you for money or kind or gifts. This little man said, "Can I have a pen or a pencil?" And I want to know why he was asking for a pen or a pencil as opposed to money like the other kids were asking for. It turns out the kids in the school, they were very much interested in how they can improve their futures, their life outcomes through education. And that's what a pencil represented to him. I always tell the story about how the kids in the school know the life cycle of their pencil. So it goes from the very first time they sharpen it until they get to the eraser. They will have that same pencil, whereas you and I somewhere in Western development might not have this experience. I might not even know what happened to the last pencil we used or we started using. So after that, we met with the administrator of the schools and we found out that the school was an NGO. It was wholly supported by charitable donations from individuals and corporations. And then we thought we could be a part of this effort because what we realized and what we were told at the time was that it cost only like $80 US, equivalent to about 500 Trinidad dollars, to support a child to school for 1 year. Now I'm from Stamford, Connecticut, and to send a child to school in the US, in Stamford, my school district, is about 10,000 US. So we know that we don't have to make very big changes in our life to make an impact. And I thought, well, if I found out this information, I want to share it with some of my friends, I want to share it with some of my colleagues. And Marcus and I decided that we should get together and form Shashamani Sunrise and use our networks to try and raise money for that first school. Subsequent years, we've expanded this effort to the Caribbean, in Jamaica and Trinidad are two of the places that we're currently doing work. And we've also done some other schools in Africa, in Kenya, and now in Uganda.
Ras Marcus Rose, let me bring you in here. The organization has been going on now for 5.5 years. February 2005, when you had that fateful meeting in Heathrow, you've been able to assist not just Shashamani in Ethiopia, but in Kenya, in Uganda, so a couple of other nations in East Africa, Jamaica, and as well here in Trinidad and Tobago, in Salibia Government Primary School, Fishing Pond Primary, Carapo RC in Arima, Roxborough Secondary in Tobago. Where do you get the resources from? Where do you get the energy from?
Well, we have a bunch of dedicated volunteers that actually they believe in our cause, and we have a team on the ground, and they actually go out and tell our story. And once they hear that we're really trying to help the people, the support just comes.
How do people get in touch? How do people hear about you? How do they get in touch with you so that you can know, well, okay, we've assisted here. We're now hearing that so-and-so place here, somewhere else needs assistance? How does it work?
So primarily, we've been supported through private donations and donations from corporations, both in terms of monies and in terms of kind. So people donate supplies, books, pens, pencils, and these are what the schools are needing. And so in our first effort, mostly people would come to us and give us a book or a pen or a pencil, because it really, really makes a difference in these kids' life. You can also make donations through our website, which is shashamanisunrise.org. The spelling.
We'll put it up. You can see this,
exactly,
the Shashamani.
Yes. So it's shashamanisunrise.org. You can make a donation through PayPal. And then we reach out to corporations. We're looking for sponsors for some of the programs that we're doing. And we've had a very good success, because places like the Sesame Workshop in New York, places like TSTT here in Trinidad, places like Atlantic LNG have come to our cause when we, for example, took a bunch of the students on a visit to the Napa to see the dinosaur exhibit.
Yes.
So this was a great exposure for the kids, because some of them have never even left their communities. This is what I was learning from the teachers. And so it's really the effort of individual and corporate donors and sponsors who come to aid us in helping us do the tasks we want to do. For
listeners on radio, if you want to get the spelling, it's S-H-A-S-H-A-M-A-N-E. S-H-A-M-A-N-E, sunrise, all one word, .org.
Yes.
So that will give you the information, shashamanisunrise.org, and the email, shashamanisunrise@gmail.com for contact information in relation to this very worthy organization.
We also got a camp coming up this next week. We're doing the Shashamani Sunrise Camp right here in Trinidad.
Right. So this is the first time we've gone beyond donating supplies and capital equipment to the schools. Because of the energy we got when during our service visit here in Trinidad, a lot of volunteers have come on board and have said, look, how can we continue this program? Because not only we need to show kids, give them the tools they need, we need partners to try and help and show the kids how to succeed with whatever resources they have. And we've got Calabash Organization, Consortium Organization, which is another charitable organization from the United States. And they have different tools, self-improvement tools, leadership tools, and a program they call My Journey, which try to help students in finding out how they can, from where they are, get to where they want to get to achieve their goals. And we have the University of Trinidad and Tobago, where I'm a professor of biomedical engineering, is also a partner with us in this effort. So both the Academy of Sports, the Academy of Performing Arts, and the Biomedical Engineering Department are all coming together to provide the kids with a new different type of exposure. And really our goal is to try and wow the kids a little bit, to try and inspire them to do something different, because we're competing with other different interests for the future for our kids, and we'd like them to choose to become a scientist or a sports personality or someone in the performing arts.
Maybe not a Jamaican footballer after they beat Trinidad 3-1 last night. But
it could be a cricket. We have someone like Brian Lau who said that he would probably come out and help.
That's great.
Dwight York will come out and help, and some of the local national leaders in the fields that we've decided to focus on and decided to help us.
Could you share with us a couple of the success stories in terms of the impact that you've made on real children in turning their lives around in a real way and setting them on a really positive path because of the work that you've done?
Okay, so I'll give you a Trinidad story because we're in Trinidad. Mm-hmm. In May, we visited Salibia School, Carapa School, Fishing Pond School, and Roxborough School in Tobago. And during one of those visits, we met a young man. His name is Kendall Villier. He's at Fishing Pond School. He's about 12 years old, I think it is. And the teachers were telling us about his skills. He said, this guy's a very good soccer player. But it turns out that he didn't have any soccer shoes. He didn't have a football that he could play, or you call it soccer football. Mm-hmm. He didn't have a football that he could play soccer with. So you're not going to excel if you don't have the tools that you need. And so we were able to, with a drive that we put at the university, with the what do we call again? I'm forgetting the name of the group. Not Kiwanis. Rotary, the Rotary Club, the Rotary Club of St. Joseph. And we were able to get shoes for the kids and some others who didn't have some shoes in their schools. And also we were able to get a soccer ball donated to their school so the kids can have a program and Kendall can probably practice his skills. And hopefully when Dwight comes and talk to him, he'll again be inspired, and Dwight will tell him something about the path that he has taken towards success and becoming an international soccer star from Trinidad. So these are the kind of examples we want to show the kids.
8:45 in Trinidad and Tobago as we continue our discussion with the founders of the Shashamane Sunrise charity organization, Dr. Renee Williamson, based right here in Trinidad and Tobago at UTT, Ras Marcos Rosa, another one of the founders, and they're doing some tremendous work right here in Trinidad and Tobago, in East Africa, in Jamaica as well. You talked about the camp that is coming up. What's it all about?
Well, it's a science camp, and basically we're just trying to make sure that the kids have an opportunity to see what life has to offer.
Where is it going to be held? When?
What's the name of the town?
So the camp is actually going to be at UTT O'Meara campus,
Okay.
and also at Nehurst, which is a partner, a science partner. The British Gas science bus is also a partner. And then the Academy of Sports will help us with the sports part, which is going to be at EKIAF in Arima, and then the arts part of the program will be at the National.
And when does it begin?
It runs
Monday.
next week from the 16th to the 20th of August.
So all of
5 days for the week. 2 days will be devoted to science. 2 days will be devoted to sports, and then the 5th day on a Friday, the 20th, we're going to have the workshops related to the arts.
And it's open to the general public.
And the schools have been invited, so the schools will be doing a workshop. At the end of the workshop, we're going to have an end of summer, end of camp social, which is also going to be at the Napa. And we're inviting the public to come on and then try and see how you can become part of the effort, because this effort doesn't succeed just by the effort of Marcus and I
just the
and the individuals in Shashamane. We need communities to get involved. We need sponsors to get involved. For example, we're still looking for a transportation sponsor to try and take some of those kids from their schools in Fishing Pond and Celebia to O'Meara. So we need
the kids from Tobago will be coming across as well. Is that going to be a challenge?
Tobago is actually a secondary school, so they're not involved in this camp.
Okay.
But the schools that are in the eastern part of Trinidad will be taking part. Those are all primary schools.
I noticed that there's a very heavy mentoring aspect to the work that you do, and particularly for some of our at-risk young men. How important has this been? You know, what are some of the responses that you get from them?
Well, I mean, this is great, and we do this, and also Calabash Organization, I'm telling you, do this more extensively than we do. Mentorship is just extremely important because, again, I'm saying we're competing with other influences for the future of these kids. And if we don't take a big role in, and we as citizens and as leaders in the fields that we're in, or practitioners in the field that we're in, don't take an interest in the people in your community, then somebody else will take an interest.
We just want to make them know that it's more important than, there's more out there than just singing, dancing, sports. I mean, we have a lot of professional people, you know, that came from the same background that these same kids come from. And we just want to let them know that you have more options out there than what you just see on TV. You know?
So when they meet you and they realize that you're an engineer, yes? And they realize that you're an engineer and you're in the biomedical sciences, right? When they meet you and they say, but wait, you have a dread and you're doing science, you know, what do they, you know, what's the reaction like?
Well,
because everybody has this vision of what a scientist looks like.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're going to get caught up in a stereotype, then you're really not going to make
precisely
it too far
my
in
point.
life anyhow. So we try to give them, like, open up their minds. Like, forget what you see. How do you feel? You know, I mean, where is your feeling? What is your ambition? What is your motivation? What gets you up in the morning? I mean, there's got to be more than just saying I'm going to school because my mother's forcing me to go to school. I mean, there's got to be something out there that you like, that interests you. You might not even notice it, but I mean, it could be something as simple as a cell phone. You know, I mean,
so
what you can do with a cell phone. Yeah, you might.
A cell phone engineer, electrical engineer.
I'm telecommunications, so to me, I mean, communicating with people is everything. And I understand the value of that.
It's interesting that you talk about mentorship, because some people have suggested that the dictionary should change the word mentorship to womentorship, because there are hardly any men around offering the sort of mentorship that is required. But you are two gentlemen seeking to continue to send the message of education from what you've seen. I mean, you've not just been in the Caribbean. You're based in the United States. You've been to Africa. You spent a lot of time in East Africa. Is there a crisis among in the male of the species?
I mean, you say a crisis, I'd say we're competing, man. That's why we have to present a better product for them, a better option for them. I mean, I'm from Jamaica by birth. I'm from Trenchtown. I mean, you don't get any harder than that. And so if it's possible for me to go from Trenchtown to the Ivory Towers of Cambridge or Yale University, these kids can do it too. But we're just trying to give them the opportunity. We're trying to give them the tools, and they can't succeed if they don't have the tools to succeed. And that's the first point, that's where Shashamani has come in. And Calabash will come and help and give them the how to succeed. So you are where you are. You're not going to change that. But it doesn't have to be where you end up. We're going to show them how to get to it. And we're going to give them the tools they need to get to it. And we need other people to come on toward this effort.
Yeah.
Do it in your own way as well.
But just get on that point I was making about the crisis of manhood in not just Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago as well. Are you seeing any changes? Are you seeing any positive changes among the young males or adult males showing that level of responsibility, Ras Marcos Rose?
No, I would say definitely yes. The kids that I've encountered, I mean, they're very ambitious. They want change. You know, there's all this talk about change, but what a lot of people fail to realize that change comes from within. You can't go out and vote for change. It's up to you to make that difference. And then again, if you're a leader, a real leader would lead by examples. You know, you're not going to hope that one come do it for you. But again, the best way to teach anybody is to show them how to do it. And I think that's where Shashamani Sunrise differ from a lot of organizations. We talk about it, and then we go out and execute it ourselves. I mean, me and Zazu's a perfect example that there's no barriers here. The only barrier is oneself, and we're just trying to build confidence in this young generation coming up. And
just to talk about the kids that we meet, the schools that we've supported and sponsored over the years have three things in common, I would say. They all come from places where low-income backgrounds. They're usually rural. The parents are often uneducated and poor. And the third thing is that the teachers have a real interest in the success of the kids. I mean, at Fishing Pond, for example, the teachers are telling me the story where teachers are coming together and getting funds towards supplying the same supplies that we've now decided that we should take an effort in helping with. I mean, and the teachers here don't have a very high salary, so it is a very good challenge.
Teaching isn't appreciated.
Right, so you can see that they have lots of people who want or are interested in their success, and we're also taking that effort in this. And I'm saying, come with us, those who are outside, you know, private donors corporations, come with us and help us deliver some of these things for the schools. The final thing we wanted to say was about the benefit that we have on Sunday the 22nd. So Muda Baruka is actually a Jamaican poet, and he's decided to come out and give a performance on Sunday at La Casa de Ibiza, in Tragarit Road in Port of Spain. And we hope that people will come out again and help us support, and so we can develop what I call an education fund, so we can do some of the future projects that we'd like to do for these schools. For example, we'd like to make sure we get some of these schools networked. So if there's a technology or a telecommunications partner out there that'd like to work with us in making sure that some of these kids have access to the information via the internet. And Marcus, this is his specialty again, you know, getting things networked and getting computers set up in the schools. Come with us, man. We really need your help. And we're going to make a difference for these kids, and we're going to compete with those other influences that they have out there.
The more help we get, the more effective we are.
But how all-powerful are those influences? We see them all the time. You know, you notice these days that you might have to pay extra to get the sports channels or to get the education channels, but all the music channels and the VH1s and the BATs are free. They're all over you all the time and so on. Do you see yourself, have you been able to make any headway against a lot of the negative influences that we see?
Well, time will tell with that, I think.
Right.
But I mean, we're not saying that becoming a sports or music personality is not a good option for them. Because I don't like to see them do that rather than become a part of a gang or something like that, for sure. So, I mean, those guys make a lot of money too, so it's not
but the kind of things they get involved in
as well. They make our lives possible.
But you understand what I'm saying? That, you know, that seeing that is not just about, you talk about change, Ras Marcos Rose. Some will say the only change that young people are interested in is the change in their pockets. The change that they could put in their pockets and in terms of financial security or the bling or whatever. But the question I'm getting at is that you're making the real change and reorientating young people into thinking about being disciplined and seeing themselves as being greater people.
Well, again, even if you go to the change in their pocket, you're not going to get the change without work. So you really got to put in. And the more you put in, the more you're going to get out of it.
Hey, and when you become the Mei-Ling of Trinidad, which is like the Vera Wang of the United States, or you become the Stacey DeMass, or you become the Brian Lara, the Dwight York, you're going to have a lot of change in your pocket at the end of the day, too. So but we're trying to say, choose that path, please.
But learn how to manage your change, because it will come, and before you even know it, it's gone.
Any other areas that you'll be working on, either in Trinidad or elsewhere in the Caribbean, have you got other projects that you're looking towards?
So in Jamaica, we also work with a school, and there what we did was we developed a library for the school. They had an unfinished building, and we raised some money, from our donors and corporate sponsors, and we finished the library. Now that library serves two purposes. One, it will give a chance to give those kids access to books that they can read and stuff. We're trying to get it networked. We're working with some partners in Jamaica to do that. And the second thing is, which is surprising, and not so surprising, is that it also serves as a reading resource room for the members of the community. So if you've lost a job and you want to go to do something, get some kind of preliminary information, primary source information, so you can learn something new, so you can have another career, then this is a good opportunity for us. So we're doing two things at once in that case. Our next visit, the next service visit, is actually in East Africa. So we go to Kenya, Uganda, and Ethiopia in September. It's going to be from the 5th to the 26th of September, and we go just before the school term starts. It actually coincides with the new year in Ethiopia because they go by the Julian calendar as opposed to the Gregorian calendar that we use in the West. And so people who come out to volunteer with us will not only get to go and work in the schools and trying to influence the kids and trying to compete for their future, but they'll also get a chance to go and visit some of those communities, so some of the great historical sites. So they themselves can know that our people are not really derived just from our history here in the West, but also there were great civilizations before. Some of the rock-hewn churches in Lalibela, the obelisk, the original obelisk that you see in Washington is actually in Axum. We go see the head of the River Nile. We go on safari in Kenya. So we do things to make our volunteers actually be interested in traveling with us into those communities and those countries.
It's a win-win. It's a win-win situation for everybody.
I just want to go quickly back to the point that you made about the teachers being so motivated and making that extra sacrifice to support the students. What about the parents? What has the impact of this been in terms of how the parents treat the children and the overall relationship in the family?
Parents are critical. I mean, I said it's a community effort. So you need students, you need teachers, you need philanthropic organizations like Shashamani, you need corporations. But the parents will probably have the biggest impact. And we've seen, for example, when we went to visit Salibia School, that the parents came out to support because, the teachers there were able to say, look, we have an organization that's going to come and try and give some of the kids some of the tools they need, some school supplies, and parents came out. We had some government officials that came out as well, the school's representative, the school superintendent.
Supervisors.
What it's called in Trinidad. But parents are absolutely critical. Many times, though, they don't have time to really spend the effort to make sure their kids are guided correctly. So sometimes the teachers play that role, and then what we're saying is that let's also become mentors. You and I or others who are professionals can help with this effort because our whole communities, we're going to see the improvements. It's going to benefit each and every one of us when these kids choose something different from some of the influences that they have outside.
From Shashamani to Salibia and back. Maybe that's the title of your next book, talking about the story of Shashamani's Sunrise. And again, if you want to get the contact information, it's shashamanisunrise.org. That's SHASHAMANE sunrise, all one word.org. shashamanisunrise@gmail.com. And if someone would like to contact you immediately, let's say to get some information or to assist and so on, is there a contact number?
Yeah, so here in Trinidad, my number is 769-6941.
All right, 769-6941. Dr. Rennie Williamson, good to have you on the program. Ras Marcus Rose, good to have you here with us as well. And all power to you. Let's hope that you continue to prosper and you continue to assist people in Trinidad and Tobago and the wider world as you've done so much already. Good way to end the program this morning after all of the issues with disasters and ODPM and who to get fired and all of that sort of thing. But we've come to the end of the program for this Thursday. Join us tomorrow for the Good Friday edition. Of course, every Friday is a Good Friday, certainly here on First Up, starting at just about 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, God willing. Take care, everybody.